You've built a life that feels stable. That feeling is the trap. Not because anything is wrong, but because nothing is allowed to move. Everything still works. Your days function. Your responsibilities are handled. People can count on you. And while all of that stays true, something keeps getting smaller. Not your schedule, not your bank account, not your reputation. Something harder to measure. The part of you that used to feel pulled. And you can't point to the day it started. Point 1. The life that works stops asking anything from you. A working life is the easiest life to stop questioning. You wake up and there's no emergency waiting for you. You move through the morning on rails you built years ago. Coffee, email, calendar, the first small decision, the next small decision. It's not miserable. It's clean. It's efficient. It's handled. And when a thought shows up like, is this it? It doesn't feel urgent enough to keep. It feels like noise. Because you have proof you're doing fine. The bills get paid, the tasks get done, the week completes itself. So the question doesn't get answered, it gets overridden. And the quiet cost is this. Your life stops demanding a larger version of you. Not because you refused, because nothing required it today. Point 2. Your calendar becomes a wall, not a map. A full calendar can look like a life. You tell yourself you're busy because you're responsible, because you're needed, because you have momentum. And in the moment it's true. There's always something. A meeting, a pickup, a commitment you agreed to months ago. You're not saying yes because you're weak. You're saying yes because you're consistent. You don't flake. You don't create chaos for other people. So your weeks fill up with things that prove you're reliable. But then a free hour opens up and it feels wrong, like an error, like something you should fix. You reach for a task to plug it, a quick errand, a call, a small productive win. And the quiet cost is this. Space starts to feel unsafe even when nothing is wrong. Not unsafe like danger, unsafe like unaccounted for. Point 3. Stability rewards you for being predictable. The safest version of you becomes the most rewarded version of you. At work, people praise what they can count on. At home, people lean on what doesn't surprise them. You become the person with the calm tone, the person who doesn't overreact, the person who can be trusted with the hard things. And that's real effort. That's earned. So you keep becoming that person. You choose the response that won't ripple. You choose the plan that won't disrupt anyone. You choose the version of yourself that fits the room. It feels mature. It feels like growing up. But slowly, you notice something small. You're rarely the cause of anything new. Not new like reckless, new like alive. And the quiet cost is this. Your identity becomes a performance that other people can predict. Even you start predicting yourself. Point 4. You learn to want things in a smaller language. Your desires don't disappear, they get translated. Instead of I want more, it becomes I should be grateful. Instead of I'm restless, it becomes I'm tired. Instead of this isn't enough, it becomes this is fine. Because those versions sound responsible. They don't create problems. They don't require explanations. So when you feel that old pull towards something, you rename it. You call it impractical. You call it unnecessary. You call it a phase you grew out of. And it feels reasonable because you can justify it in one sentence. But the quiet cost is this. Your wants lose their original shape. You don't lose desire. You lose contact with what it was pointing toward. Point 5. Your standards become a cage you built yourself. The more disciplined you are, the harder it gets to move. You have standards now, for how you spend money, for how you spend time, for how you show up. You don't like wasting. You don't like mess. You don't like decisions you can't defend later. So you start choosing only what you can justify. The purchase has to make sense. The trip has to be worth it. The change has to be logical. You don't do this because you're scared. You do it because you're responsible. But then you notice something. The only things that pass your filters are the things that keep your life the same size. Not worse. Same. And the quiet cost is this. Your discipline starts protecting you from expansion. Your standards were supposed to guide you. Now they approve your limits. Point 6. You keep trading later for not now. Later is the cleanest lie stable people tell themselves. Not because it's dishonest, because it's believable. Later, when the workload lightens, Later when the kids are older. Later when the next milestone is handled. Later when you've earned it. And in the moment, it feels mature to postpone yourself. It feels adult to prioritize what's necessary. So you keep doing the right thing. You keep being the dependable person. Then one day you realize you've been saying later for years. And there's no moment where it flips, no official permission, no finish line. Just another month cleanly scheduled. And the quiet cost is this. Your life becomes permanently almost started. You aren't trapped, you're maintaining. You weren't stuck, you were maintaining something. A version of life that looks correct from the outside. A version of you that makes sense to other people. A version that doesn't require explanations. That's why the earlier signs never felt like warning signs. They felt like maturity. The shrinking didn't register as loss, it registered as stability. And here's the turn you don't want to make. People don't escape smaller lives, they defend them. They protect the routines, they protect the standards. They protect the identity that says, I'm doing everything right. Not aggressively, quietly, with logic, with responsibility, with a calm tone that sounds like adulthood. And once you realize that, you can't unsee what you've been guarding. Point 7. You start living in maintenance mode without noticing. A stable life teaches you to maintain, not to move. You handle the week like a system. Keep the machine running. Keep the house steady. Keep the projects clean. You fix small problems early so they don't grow. You keep things organized so nothing surprises you. Again, this is competence. This is effort. But then the days start to feel like upkeep. Not painful, just contained. You finish things and instead of feeling open, you feel ready to refill the space with the next task. Because empty space feels like falling behind. It feels like neglect. And the quiet cost is this. You stop experiencing your life as something you're in. You experience it as something you're managing. Point 8. The most dangerous loss is the loss you can't name. The scariest part is how normal it all feels. You can't tell someone, my life is shrinking, without sounding dramatic. Because nothing is visibly broken. You're functioning. You're composed. You're the person people assume is fine. So when the feeling shows up, it's subtle. A moment of staring at your own fridge like it's a set piece. A Sunday afternoon that feels like it ends before it starts. A conversation where you hear yourself speaking and it sounds like someone responsible. And you can't point to the missing thing. It's not happiness, it's not money, it's not even excitement. It's the sense that something is pulling you forward. And the quiet cost is this. You start adapting to the absence as if it's adulthood. Nothing changes yet. There's no dramatic decision hiding at the end of this video. No urgent moment you're supposed to create. This is smaller than that. It's just the recognition that stability can take your life without taking your life apart. That's why it's hard to notice, because everything keeps working. If you're stable, you assume you're safe. But stability doesn't only protect you from things going wrong, it protects you from things going bigger. And when you can't name what you're losing, you keep maintaining it. You keep being the responsible person. You keep choosing what you can justify. You keep defending what looks correct. Until one day you realize the life you built to feel secure doesn't feel like a life you're inside. It feels like something you're preserving. Stickman out.